Welcome back, everybody, to our Medieval Total War Aragon campaign on late period expert difficulty glorious achievements mode. Today we're going to try to accomplish two things. We've got an achievement here to complete. We've got Valencia, which is this province right here, currently in the hands of the Almohads, and we would like to add this to our homelands goal. It's possible that that'll also bring us up to a third pip in terms of conquest, but to be honest, I am not quite sure how this is figured, because I don't know if this considers provinces that you begin with, or if it considers only provinces that you conquer. So for every two provinces we conquer, we get 1 point. So at the very beginning of the campaign, we had two provinces, Aragon and Sicily, and we did not have any points in the conquest meter, as you would expect. We picked up Sardinia, we picked up Navarre, so that would be 1 point. We picked up Castile and Leon, and that would be 1 point. So I guess so far so good, right? But at a certain point, I swear that the conquest meter seems a little unpredictable. So we'll see what that does. But this is a big moment for us, because we're attacking mostly from Castile into Valencia, and we're going to be facing the Almohad army under possibly the Sultan. And this Sultan is Ismail I. He is 55 years old, fairly dreadful, fairly good acumen, and educated and a builder. He does have some problems, and that is in the shape of not only me, but the English, who have conquered Cordoba and are now currently under siege by a hastily raised jihad. And this Granadan army is under siege by the English Crusade, which is headed eventually for Tripoli. So it looks like this crusade is going to progress along the coast of North Africa, which could be absolutely devastating for the Almohads and potentially for the Egyptians if it makes it all the way through. Again, all of these provinces that it goes through, if they have a mosque, if they have a ribat, if they have anything that is like specific to the Muslim building tree, that will be destroyed even if the Almohads don't actually completely lose the province, right? Even if they just retreat to the castle and then the crusade moves on, there, as you can see, there will be no mosques in here, right? No mosques, no ribats. Same thing in Cordoba. So there is already a little bit of damage that has been done to the Almohads. And I mean, the fact is, they technically own Cordoba, right? Because it's under siege. And so I suppose the Sultan could move out, but really there's nothing else they can bring in. The attacking army is being led by, let me just make sure he's actually in. Yes, King Alfonso V. He's 35 years old, and he is fairly untested. Supposedly he's a great warrior, I guess we'll see. +5 health, just keeps him in the fight more. And he's also, unfortunately, a hedonist, so that means he's a little overweight, so -1 valor. So he's not a good fighter, but he can take a few punches. He is, however, a great builder. He's seen a pretty successful reign so far and done a lot of building projects as we've been getting ready for this crusade. This crusade, if it succeeds, because we've got not only an invasion, but also a crusade with a couple of Knights of Santiago, very nice. If this succeeds, this is going to do two things. Not only is this going to give us that 5 points for conquering one of our homelands, but it is also going to count as a successful crusade, which means that hopefully his influence is going to increase by 1 or maybe 2. And then once we've got all of the homelands secured, once we've got that bar completely filled, the influence of our kings should be steadily ticking upward. That seems to be the way it works in Glorious Achievements mode. And that's good because, well, for the most part, it's good. Increased influence is going to be good for the loyalty of all of our generals, all those things. There is a little bit of a bug with it in that if your king gets to max influence and then it goes up, it actually goes back down to 0 and starts resetting again from there. So there's a little bit of uncertainty. But I think we'll just end the year, and we'll see how this battle is going to play out, if they will in fact stand for a fight. I feel like I pumped it up now for about 3 minutes, and they're probably just going to withdraw to the castle, and the king moves out, and we don't fight at all. But let's see. Yep, the king goes out. They actually do bring some reinforcements in. And the English are making progress all over the place. So they're attacking the French in Provence. They've conquered Aquitaine and Toulouse. The English, by the way, are my ally. So the north is secured. which is nice as long as they remain an ally. But there are problems with the Italians, with the French as well. And so there's a lot of rebels around, and maybe I can, make some use of this. Let's see what else we got. Okay, we are actually going to have a fight. So this is Prince Ali. And I cannot say this name without thinking of the movie Aladdin. Even though I've never seen that movie, growing up in the 90s, you heard the song. You heard Robin Williams belt out that tune. So I can't see this without chuckling like an idiot. Okay, so we're going to just shuffle the reinforcements here, and then we're going to get to the battlefield. All right, so Valencia looks like a pretty decent day. We'll go ahead and attack in this. The enemy has actually a lot of siege equipment with them, which is a great weakness, I'm thinking, at least for them. We had a couple of siege weapons, too, in our initial 16, but I put them back in the reinforcements at the very end of the queue, so we will not see them at all. We have some Knights of Santiago. I'm curious what they're going to dismount to here. Okay, Chivalric Foot Knights. I'm just going to keep them as cav, because there's a lot, like I said, a lot of siege stuff in the enemy army. There's 5. There's 1 good cav unit, maybe 2, and there's some Berber camels. And that's really it, I think. So I've got a decent mix. Maybe a few more javelin men than is prudent, but I wanted to get them out initially anyway. We've got some cav coming up as reinforcements, but otherwise I got a lot of my good cav here. There are a few princes in my reinforcements as well as the enemy's reinforcements. So this has the opportunity to be kind of a royal bloodbath, either for us or for them. So I have to keep that in mind. So anyway, let's just put these guys all in a big group and just go straight at them, I guess. The AI is always going to deploy its siege weapons in its initial 16 units. It's not going to shuffle the reinforcements at all, and so that's something you can kind of count on. Let's get my cav going out to the side. And I'll keep the king back with the main army. He's a little bit vulnerable. Of course, we've got all this stuff. But if I get the cav out there, then we should be able to take out like the catapults, the trebuchets, the mangonel, the ballista with the cavalry. And if they take a lot of losses, we've got more cavalry coming up as reinforcements too. So it looks like I can see some Almohad urban militia up there. There's the Berber camels. Yeah, they've got 29 Ghulam cavalry. That's the other good-ish cav unit. They're more like light lancers, I think, in that they can be pretty effective on like a charge against certain units. All right, yeah, let's just cut straight across and just deal with this stuff right now. And I think I'm going to actually take all of these guys right out of the group. They're basically giving us the ground here. There are, let's see, 2 units of archers, and then they've got some Murabitin infantry. So they do have some ranged, but I think we can deal with this before they get down to us, hopefully, with their melee guys. They are sending cav down, but again, I'm looking at this cav as mostly dispensable. Alright, let's back off. Let's back off. It's probably too late. Let's back off. Alright, let's go. Knights of Santiago attacking the Ghulam bodyguard. And their Ghulam cavalry is going after my my unit there. Alright, let's turn around, do a volley, and we're at engage at will already. Let's turn around and hit the Almohad urban militia. And let's pull out a little bit more. And we're just going to keep everybody else marching in this direction. Alright, so that's a Ghulam bodyguard unit, which is not the general, actually. So they've got another... Where's their general? They may have withdrawn him. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of the Knights of Santiago. Alright, 3 Ghulam bodyguards. 2 maybe we'll pull out. Yeah, the Almohad Urban Militia. I think this unit's going to be gone. We'll just let them go. Let's pull the Chivalric Knights back, because I think we can. And the Royal Knights, yep. Okay. Alright, we got out of this pretty well. I can't remember if that bodyguard unit is a prince or if it's just a sort of a leftover family member. Okay, let's turn about, actually. There we go. We're going to get the Order foot soldiers hitting those Morabitin infantry. Oh, these are javelin men, that's right. They are decent infantry as well. And so, you know, they're not to be underestimated, but they do behave like skirmishers. Great. Alright, so yeah, those Knights of Santiago got wiped out, sadly. And they do have, you know, a lot of reinforcements, but nothing that I saw was really that good. A lot of, like, very low number units. That Gulam cavalry did better than expected, so just to get a better look at them, they're, you know, not much to look at, kind of a medium cav unit, but, like, fast, fairly light lancers. The Berber camels are archers, and then these are just spearmen, the Muwahid foot soldiers. But yeah, some arbalesters. It's okay, some more Berber camels. That's why I put, you know, a decent amount of infantry in this first batch. We're going to get like halfway up the hill, I guess. Alright, let's go this way. Just join in. These Royal Knights are not one of my sons, I'm quite sure. Maybe I'll take the king over here and get some easy kills on the Desert Archers. Alright, yeah, Order foot soldiers. We can start climbing the hill. And Knights of Santiago go around. So, light Saharan cav. If I can get them on the spearmen. Or down in the woods where my my melee guys are going to do pretty well. Alright, great. Royal Knights took out their militia sergeants. Wasn't sure about that, honestly, because militia sergeants, you know, can be decent. But yeah, we've got chivalric men-at-arms, our Order foot, our Italian infantry. Let's run these guys up to the top of the hill. Alright, Amugavars, go ahead and throw some javelins. And let's do a charge. Spanish Jeannettes can join in. Alright, let's go right up here. Very good. Those Saharans did not last long. It looks like the Gulam Cav are going to be charging. Alright, let's ignore these guys. I accidentally gave you a move order. Alright, the Ungavars come back. And I should get my general over here, too. Actually, we probably need some reinforcements. Yeah. So there's some Spanish Trinettes coming. I do have some other stuff. Some heavier cavalry. More Muwahid foot soldiers, some crossbowmen, these Berber camels, some ranged things. Alright, let's ignore the camels. Great. Those camels, I think, have slightly short range, too. Alright, we'll hang back here. Alright, let's come over here. I'm going to get my king involved. Let's see how his warriorship works out. He's a hedonist. We do have some crossbowmen shooting at us. Okay, we will have to worry about these guys, Ghazi infantry. So maybe we'll get some javelins over there. Okay, that worked pretty well. We'll get the king back relatively safely. Alright, Spanish Trinettes, yes. We go and chase them down. Let's go and help support this. Get rid of these crossbowmen. We have had a lot of marching, so this is going to, you know, impact our effectiveness. The Ghazis are dangerous because they're armor piercing, and they tend to have good morale. So let's do a charge with our Jeannettes, I guess. I wonder if we can catch their camels. Because if I can even pin them with my cavalry and maybe get them with the spears, that would be nice. Alright, the Ghazis are gone. Awesome. More camels down here, but there's not much I can do about that. Alright, here come more. Urban militia, some handgunners, crossbows, a few Ghazis. There's naphtha throwers in there, which is kind of nasty. Okay, we were not able to catch them, so let's pull back the Knights of Santiago, pull back the Order Foot. And we'll just get our crossbowmen at them. At some point, they will run out of arrows, right? And there's our reinforcements, the Spanish Trinettes. Quite fresh. I don't think we really need to rush them over here, though. Okay, Ghazi infantry, some crossbowmen. Let's get the Amolgavars attacking the Ghazis, and we'll kind of hit them from both sides. More Berber camels and more Saharan cav. Okay, our Royal Knights are getting cut down in the woods by the Berbers. And what's this? Some more... These are feudal knights that are coming. Alright, I want to get up here. But noticing that I can't really order attacks until they come down the hill a bit. They're just a little bit off screen, as it were. Alright, I think they're technically attackable now. And some more Jeannettes. That's just fine. Let's see, these are 30. I wonder if they'd be good against 24 Berber camels. Let's actually try it. We'll put them on engage at will. That will at least keep them from firing quite so much. Yeah, and there's a couple units of other things, which may be a problem. All right, they're going to attack? All right, great. I'll take that. All right, we got no more javelins with these Spanish javelin men, so let's just send them to attack the crossbowmen. We've got some valor, we've got some armor and weapon upgrades with these guys, and we're quite fresh, so at least we're theoretically quick. I'm thinking, too, I'll send my king over. And let's go with it. 20 Knights of Santiago versus 36 Berber camels. Again, just to keep them moving. What's this? Muwahid foot soldiers, some archers, a few naphtha throwers, Nubian spears, Ghazi infantry. Alright, the Berber camels won. So let's keep shooting at them. We're chasing the crossbows away successfully. Let's see, 32 Berber camels. Yep, keep on them. Alright, let's bring the king back then. Alright, what's this? Okay, some Murabitin infantry. This is just regular spears. No, these are the javelin guys, I think. Muwahid foot soldiers. I can't remember. They look basically identical. I think the Murabitin are the javelins. Oh yeah, we're losing to the camels in the woods. Okay, but have beaten off at least one company. Alright, let's just keep pushing them. If we can maybe catch them, then great. Ghazi infantry, militia. Okay, so this is potentially a problem here. Alright, now they're routing. Very nice. Let's get our, our other guys after them. And I think... Is it Feudal Knights? I could have sworn we had a reinforcement to bring on. Alright, let's hit the Ghazis. Because they're pretty isolated. I don't think they really want to fight. Okay, I guess some more Jeannettes. And did we win over here? Yeah, we did. All right, nice. We probably lost a lot of cavalry doing it, but we at least routed them. I'm never quite sure exactly how tough the camels are. I don't have as much experience with these camels as I do with the Bedouin camel warriors that you get over like around Egypt, which are quite effective. These Berber camels, I wasn't quite sure if the terrain was going to be, friendly to them or not. Okay, yeah. Murabitin infantry just throwing javelins. I think that's probably everybody. All right, fleeing the field, and we'll see if they're going to give a ransom. I wouldn't mind that. But that was a success, and Valencia's conquered. So there's going to be a siege. They got a few men back to the castle. I guess we'll see how many. And ransom is refused. Okay, so that was one of their lords, Emir Abu Muhammad. And the King of France is eliminated. Wow. There's a chance they may come back, because as we can see, this is a rebel province. I don't know what else. I think this was always Italian Corsica. So if there's a bit of unrest, or maybe in a few turns, just some of these rebels may decide to support, you know, some long-lost family member of the French, which is such a cool feature. And the King of England has died from an illness. Okay, we have our shipwright finished in Castile, metalsmith's workshop in Aragon, and our crusade is not quite successful yet. But nor has this jihad been successful. 4 years or more for the siege. I suppose they could assault and, you know, end it. Let's see. This could hold out for 3 years. And we've got 500 men to their 134. Let's take a closer look at this crusade army. Yeah, Don Diego de Escobedo. And so this would be a chivalric knight. He's got a good amount of, like, light cav, a few heavy cav, some spear types, the Order of Foot Soldiers, the chivalric sergeants. Not really a lot of else. I guess 55 crossbowmen, 73 feudal sergeants. Okay, and then some arquebusiers. And then against, if they sally, just kind of this. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we help the English and send the king and everybody else into Cordoba. Not to get it back, but just to get a little bit of influence. Because we've got 4 points right now. But if we send everybody down here, Valencia's still pretty happy. And, yeah, let's get a spy, actually. Put you in Valencia right now, and we'll get another one. And so that's 458. Looks like a decent mix. We've got some chivalric men-at-arms, some feudal sergeants, some ranged. Then this army under Prince Fernando. Okay, and I've still got both of my princes. Prince Garc, Prince Fernando, and Prince Sancho. So I've actually got a lot of brothers, is what this is. So yeah, I think I want to do that. And I'm not sure what's going to happen to this jihad. There's really not too many here. And we've got enough cav that I feel pretty confident about being able to ride down all of this stack. This is, you know, a bit tougher, but Prince Yusuf, Prince Ismail, there's not too many men left in these units. And the Khalifa Ismail I, yeah, he's got his full unit of bodyguards, but that's really it. So they might retreat, and they could go to Grenada, which, you know, wouldn't really mean anything, although I don't know if the jihad can retreat. Maybe it can. But it would free us up a little bit, right, if England were to take possession of Cordoba again. So I think that's working out pretty good. That does satisfy our homelands criteria, which is perfect, because 1350 is coming up in just 4 years. And this is the first one of only 5 periods in which we're going to count points. So again, this is the late period start, which means we don't have a lot of time. So I think this is going to work out nice, and this will buy us even more time. Because once we get it, let's say we hold it until 1349, but then the Almohads attack and we're forced to withdraw, then we lose credit for it, right? So we'll do this. We'll get the province, hopefully, back in the hands of the English. And if they should lose it ultimately to the Aragon, the Almohads, then we can just attack and take it for ourselves. It's kind of the plan anyway. Let's get some of these mercenaries. And yeah, bring them down to Valencia. I know it's a little risky leaving Castile like this. I don't think the jihad can move over there. But let's train something useful. maybe we'll go with some feudal knights. Because the king's army could theoretically attack Leon or Castile. Let's go with some chivalric men-at-arms in Leon. And in Castile, what else? We just got basic shipping. So if we do this, we could get caravels out of here. I'm not sure if that's quite worth it. This gets us inquisitors, which we can train. And so it would be good to get this up to the Grand Inquisitor level. So we may want to go for Citadel. Then again, I think having a lot of places where we can build our heavy swordsmen is also not a bad thing. And Aragon. I still don't see much point in making a port here. Okay, I forgot that we get Lancers. I think us and the Spanish get this unit. This is a heavy cav unit, and it's available in the late period, so I don't often see it. So Master Armorer, Master Spearmaker get us Lancers. Yeah, let's actually let's do the Master Horse Breeder, because that's going to improve the valor of our cavalry. And we've got the Master Armorer. No, we don't have it yet. We're going to need the fortress for that. Okay, so then we'll do the Spearmakers Guild so we can eventually get the Master Spearmaker. Right? This is all probably going to come too late. And let's go with some Jeanettes. Actually, let's take a lot of you guys this way. Anyone slightly more loyal? Yeah, you. Alright, so the urban militia can come with. But this is giving us a bit more of a presence in Castile. I guess they could take a swipe at Leon too, but let's just cross our fingers and hope they don't. That's right, we can hire mercenaries in Sardinia and send them immediately. Let's do that. Let's get some Saracen infantry. Yeah, let's get all of this. It's a little, arguably unnecessary, overpriced. Okay, so we can't land in Valencia. Why not? Oh, because they've got a ship there. Alright, we'll land in Aragon then, and then we'll just move them down. So next turn, though, we are going to have a ship here in the Straits of Sicily. So again, we could just move over. Let's find a good command if we got one. That guy's got 1 star. Okay, so we'll just take this guy, bring him down, and like that, and then we'll have another ship. Alright, I think I will get a bark just so that I can be really sure. And we'll see what they do. The Italians are moving into, I guess, Milan. Okay, they're moving reinforcements into Grenada, so we may have to fall back. Oh no, they retreat. Okay, good. Good. I didn't really think that through because I wasn't planning on them sending reinforcements from Grenada or Morocco, which I should have expected. So we relieved Cordoba, which means that we have returned the province back to the English. We don't get it, but we should get an influence boost, so we'll have to check for that. Okay, so they're trying to attack rebels in Genoa, and they can't do it. The Italians are going to back off. Almohad Khalifa has died. His heir has taken over. Oh, civil war. Perfect. Perfect. All right. So, 3 years. Siege in Valencia. And we caught an assassin of the Byzantines and an assassin of the Hungarians in Sicily. Oh no. God's judgment on the world. Plague and death now hold dominion, and the dead are almost numberless. No town, no village, no household has been spared. The living suffer the torments of the damned. The stench from the plague pits carries the Black Death to all corners of the world, and prayer is the only salvation. So this, I believe, has, like, public order ramifications. We'll have to check. I can't remember. It may also hurt income. All right, let's first check our king's influence. Yep, he got 1 crown of influence. And so that is just nice. It's a nice little boost. Let's go down here. We may use these guys in getting the siege. Now it says here, may only last for 2 years. We may want to assault because it's 1347, 48, 49, and it'll really be a 3rd year. So 1350, that's a little too close for comfort for me. I'm not quite sure. Actually, wait, it doesn't matter. We've already got the point. That's right. We don't need to assault. We'll just wait. Okay, and we've saved Cordoba for the English, although they may not be able to hold it. There may be a big rebellion. But it's likely to be a rebellion that the Almohads can't benefit from. Well, I guess it could be a loyalist revolt, right? Well, so I could have just inadvertently given the Almohads a bunch of free troops, but they're definitely losing troops in Grenada, so that's useful. Let's go down to Morocco since I really can't see that, and let's see what they have for ships. These caravels, remember, are 3 and 3 attack and defense, and this is a Dow. All right, great. So only 1 attack and defense. They do have speed of 3, whereas the caravels have a speed of 1. So if this guy wants to, he could just slip away with no problem at all. Okay, so now we just kind of play the waiting game for a little bit. And I guess we don't need these troops here in Castile anymore. Let's bring it back up. Oh, this guy. Great. Okay, he's a chinless wonder. That's fine. It doesn't matter. He's just a nobody, essentially. We do have our eyes on Cordoba, right? As I mentioned in the last episode, at some point, we do kind of want all of this. But for now, I just kind of want the Almohads off my back, and that worked very nicely. Their jihad seems to have failed, and they've at least lost Grenada. It might be good if I could spare a ship. And I really can't right now. But just to see what's going on in North Africa, too, to see if there's rebels in these 3 provinces, and also to see who owns Cyrenaica, because I think in the late period it might be the Egyptians. In the early period, the Almohads get it. But that English crusade is still at large, at least in theory. Okay, all right, we lost that one. Okay, 2 more years. So Sicily and Sardinia. Okay, we'll say no to the Polish. Here we go. We get a princess offer from. It says Burgundy here, but it's really the Hungarians. So there's a bit of a problem with the text. Prince Fernando is a brother of the current king. I guess something could happen. We might lose the current king to, a battle. I guess he could die early to an illness. So it might not be a bad thing to have someone else getting children. On the other hand, it'd be nice to sort of leave this this princess for the son, who's not yet come of age. So I think I'm going to say no. Okay, blackmailer. Yes, this is -3 loyalty. He was a secret blackmailer, and now he's just a blackmailer. So he's been caught blackmailing a senior official and fined a large sum. He is most unhappy about this and seeks revenge. So more likely to revolt. Let's see if we can find Fernando. There he is. Okay, not too bad. And he's the main guy. Is Sancho married? I guess he is. All right. So our king is currently married. His younger brother Sancho is married, and we don't need Fernando to get married. In fact, it's probably better if we leave him unmarried so that some future princess could theoretically marry him to work up his loyalty if we really need it. All right, so this is really going to be 2 years. All right, let's consolidate all of these guys. All right, nice. Feudal Knights looking pretty loyal. And it doesn't look like there's a rebellion in Cordoba. It also doesn't look like there's much at all for units. Just 33 archers. They do, however, have a border fort, which, you know, it's fine for their purposes, but it's going to make it harder for me to take this through subterfuge if I want to do it that way, if they end up holding it. It looks like Morocco is pretty strongly held by the Almohads. That could be simply because they don't have anywhere else to go. So let's keep my bishop moving. This is Khalifa Omar I. Irritable and eager to retreat. That hurts. All right. I don't see any other heirs. This guy does have royal blood, and you can see his loyalty's nothing. So the Almohads are in a bit of trouble. Let's just get a closer look at all of that. And we'll go ahead for another caravel. And in Sicily, yeah, let's just get swords. Actually, you know what? Let's get an inn, and then we'll focus on swords. And Navarre. Yeah, we may as well work up armor. Okay, about to fall, so not this turn, but the following turn. So it'll literally be 1350 when we actually get hold of Valencia Castle. And no attacks from the Almohads. They did have a ship here, but either that sunk or the English took care of it. So that's great news. I really have nothing to worry about. I guess they could attack the interior in theory, but even then, not really, because I think they are still at war with the English. So this ship should prevent them from attacking Castile. If they have a ship here, which it doesn't look like they do, then they could slip into Leon, but only if there were no English fleets anywhere, like anywhere in the intervening sea regions. All right, income is looking pretty low, but that I think is going to get better. Let's actually check our fleets. Yeah, we've got you know, we've got trade around here, but are we at war? Are these rebels that we're at war with? We can't actually drop anybody on, but we probably are at war with the rebels, and that's why we're not making quite as much money here. There's no enemies around, but we do have this bark, actually. So I can leave that here and move this over here so that we'll be ready to start trading out of Valencia. All right, so he's got his 5 crowns. Next year, we should see this crusade succeed, and this 5 should go up to 6 or possibly 7 influence. I'm not sure if it's like 1 or 2 points for a successful crusade. But we're also going to get points for homelands for having all of those taken care of. Wow, that tiny Swiss army just attacked a big rebel force in Tyrolia. Okay, so they thought better of it, but looks like this is a prince, so some of the Swiss armored pikemen against whatever this is. Nice. All right, crusade asked against the Almohads. Yeah, I'll do that. I may wait until they actually take Cordoba completely, though. So we pillaged 1,300 florins. Now, I'm not sure if this is accurate. It looks like there's still a citadel here. That would be awesome. We destroyed 1 facility and damaged 3, so 3 buildings got degraded. Let's see. All right, let's say no. I want the English as allies. All right. Very nice. We got 20 points for homelands, and we still have the citadel in Valencia. That's awesome. Okay, so let's, first things, get this part of our trading empire. Then we're going to get a watchtower. We don't get anything really special here. There's no bonuses to... there's no iron, so we can't upgrade weapons or armor. And there's no, like, province-specific valor bonus for any particular units. I think that we would get Jeannettes, Spanish Jeannettes, so it's like we may as well get the building above horse farmer so we can get them. We might also want to think about, like what they've done here is they've gone up the siege tree. We could do something similar and go gunpowder for like cannons and stuff, because the armor doesn't matter, right? Like not having an armor or not having valor bonus doesn't really matter so much. So maybe I will do that. Maybe we'll go, like, let's go with Bell Foundry, and let's go with a church, just because. And then we can also do ships. Let's actually queue up ships next. All right, let's actually see what this looks like. We're winning. Okay, except for the Russians. So this is going to be a problem. The Russians are at 22. We're at 22. So 8 and 8 is 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. They're at 16, 17, 19, 20, 22. Okay, so we are tied. If they get more buildings in Muscovy than any other province, they're going to get 4 more points that we can't do anything about, at least just yet. So it'll be up to conquest, or it'll be up to subterfuge, either trying to get rebellions going in their lands, or potentially like assassinating them, right, wiping them out as a faction, which we could do. We can't use inquisitors against the Russians because they are Orthodox, and so they don't care about Catholic inquisitors. But we could use our religious agents to try to get rebellion, or we could just, like, get a really good navy going and just, like, invade up here. It does seem like some of my late Glorious Achievements campaigns have come down to that, just, like, stomping through Russia to deny them some homelands points. We'll see if this one works out that way, too. But we need to get a crusade built up. We don't necessarily need to, but I'd like to take Cordoba through a crusade. And let's check out our king's influence. Yes, 7. So I guess a crusade is 2. It could be that he's also getting bonuses now because those homelands are achieved. That mission is basically achieved. Okay, let's see, Castile. Let's get another cardinal. I want to have more eyes around. Yeah, check it out. Okay, so here we've got a just vastly outnumbered, I mean, not vastly, but 177 men. But there's only like 42 guys here in a citadel in Algeria. This is just great. Okay, we'll go over to Tunisia. But that means that, yeah, no mosque here. And it's going to be a while before before this falls, right? It will not fall without a direct assault. There's only 19 archers. Poor risky attacks. Okay, so here just 65 men. I mean, we could relieve this again, but I'm not really interested in that. What I want to do is just make sure that, yeah, let's take you and you and you and you. That we've got enough to repel anything that might come this way. Okay, so Castile, since we already did a shipbuilder, I guess we could do a dockyard. I mean, this is obviously mostly a military province, but I'm not necessarily going to be training a unit every single time. And a big part of the reason that my income is low now is because our crusade succeeded, which means we now got to pay upkeep for all of these guys. So I do a little bit of housekeeping here. Maybe disband, like, these Vikings that we don't need. And now that's a nice full stack. Get rid of these, 11 Pavies crossbows, these 4 pikemen, just useless stuff. I don't particularly need 6 Spanish trinettes or 13 arbalesters. Remember, again, we can't really retrain them as easily as you can in the later games. Like, even Rome Total War, it didn't take a full year just to retrain some units. So, unless the guy you're disbanding has great traits or something, you may as well just train a fresh one. I think that trebuchet's only got 6 men. We'll probably ditch it. Okay, the rest of that's fine. I'll keep these 19 chivalric men-at-arms. And I guess we could split some of this up. Let's move Sancho over to Castile. If we do one more province, I think that's going to get us a third conquest point, which is going to eke us out ahead of Russia in theory. But they have to work less hard than we do to get those conquest points. All right, so now he's looking for a crusade against the Egyptians. I wonder if that takes over for the crusade request against the Almohads. All right, no new goals, but the goblet is flashing because sometimes you get some different glorious achievements the year after points are counted. So the next time points are counted is 1375, so that's like 24 years from now. There may be some changes to the goals in between then and now, so it's worth checking out just periodically to make sure you don't miss something. Okay, and we get another caravel. All right, so rebels in Tunisia. That's great news. Come down. Yeah, we'll try to challenge Straits of Gibraltar. Since I don't see any Almohad navies except off the coast of Portugal, they could do a lot of damage, right? Okay, I guess they're up in the Bay of Biscay too. But we'll at least be able to see the provinces more easily. And what's this? I mean, we could move in here. We could just bribe this tiny camel unit. Let's check out Cyrenacia. It's good to know that there's so many rebels just hanging around. Oh, what was that? That's a rebel and Swiss attack. I gotta check this out. Yeah, this was an invasion by the Swiss, but also by the rebels, I'm pretty sure, into Toulouse, which is now rebel-held, or was? Okay, but we lost a rank 2 emissary in Tyrolia. That stinks. All right, we're going to have to build another one. Okay, so the English retreat out of Toulouse. And let's ignore the offer of alliance from the Holy Roman Emperor. All right, we want to find an emissary. Let's train him here. I guess that's that. Okay, Morocco looks the same. Granada looks the same. Or Granada. Okay. Yes, eager to retreat. -2 morale. -1 loyalty as well. And then poor risky attacks. Okay, so he's got some, interesting traits. No prospect of this castle falling without an assault. I think that this may actually change. If you wait like 20, 30 years, eventually you will get some text that suggests, okay, it might be, maybe eventually it will. Okay, the Almohads trying to hit Grenada and take that back. Assassin from the Russians in Sicily and Byzantines. All right, magnificent builder for Alfonso V. So that's extra happiness and a little extra loyalty. And he's now up to, I guess it's still 7. That's fine. All right, let's move our cardinal. Yeah, let's move him down to Cordoba. If this border fort was not here, we could theoretically, we could send a spy in and try to get something happening. Actually, let's send him down to Morocco. I want to see if there's border forts there. Okay, yes, Cyrenacia is in the hands of the Egyptians. Okay, that's just good to know. Let's go back to Algeria. And it looks like the Almohads failed to take Grenada. Oh, man. They even lost a general. Great, Prince Ferdinand. I think this is the son of the current king. And Petrarch. Minus 10% zeal. Distracting poems. Yep, I was just thinking, with this rebel-owned Toulouse, it is about time for the French to reappear. So 4 provinces are just joining the revolt. So Toulouse is 1, Genoa is 1, and I don't know, there could be a couple of provinces, like Milan, maybe Venice, that the French did have, but were rebelled at some point. And then there's another province being attacked. So that's probably Normandy that's being attacked. That's great news for me. It's going to make life a little harder for the English, which I think is a good thing. You don't want them to get too strong, because otherwise that limits my options. All right, Prince Ferdinand, Chinless Wonder, natural leader. That's really unfortunate. There he is, Prince Ferdinand. Yep, 16. And let's just see. Yeah, he's the main guy now. He is the heir apparent. Shoot. 16 and a Chinless Wonder. Well, at least he's got this. +2 morale, +1 loyalty. So his dad is 44. I guess I'm going to want this guy to get married. So let's look around for some princesses. I know there's a Hungarian princess, or there was, who is interested. But I see an Italian princess here. Let's give this a shot. So Corsica, interestingly, is under siege by the Italians. They don't actually own it. And there could be a rebellion here. So there's still opportunity for us to grab Corsica, theoretically. All right, here's another Dow. Let's try it again. This is another situation where we should probably win the fight. Oh, we're neutral with the Almohads. Wow, okay. That's because we stopped sharing borders for like a turn. Okay, I'll trade with them for a little bit. We got the Crusade marker. And, yeah, so they see how this is slightly different now. Although besieged, the garrison is not likely to become concerned for years. So that's fine. I will wait. We don't, we don't necessarily need to rush into this. But, it occurs to me it might not be a bad idea to have an army in the capital, or near the capital anyway, because now we've got this border with the French. Sicily. Let's go for income. I think we'll do that, and then chivalric men-at-arms. And we'll go silver mine complex in Sardinia. And caravels. Yeah, we can train caravels out of here now. May as well. So let's get a few spies. And let's get a few more cardinals. Golden Bull codifies much imperial power, in particular the method of electing a new emperor. By this edict, interference from the church is minimized, and the power of the emperor and his 7 electors is enhanced. It is a triumph of legality and internal diplomacy within the empire, increasing the influence of the emperor, the German emperor, that is. And here we've got John Wycliffe, so heresy in Wessex, Mercia, and Northumbria. So all in basically England. All right, decline of my marriage offer from the Italians, so they're not that interested. Okay, I guess I did have a spy in Valencia, so let's move you over to Leon. And let's move you to, I guess we'll move you to Aragon. Alright, there are no border forts here. So yeah, let's put you in Morocco. 30% Catholicism, that's higher than I expected. But this was briefly English, and it bordered a province that is largely Catholic, Cordoba. So we're also increasing it with our cardinals. I'll just keep him here. And I'll bring you down to, well, actually, let's get you in Granada. I want to see what buildings are in here. All right, I've got to be careful with my money though, because we're spending more than we're making. We've got a little less than 4 grand. Navarre, I think I will spend for men-at-arms. We'll get chivalric men-at-arms up there eventually. Okay. All right, Pedro. Got another son who's come of age. Irritable and great warrior. This is the guy I would rather have be the king, possibly. Let's see. Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh yeah, it's not even close. Ugh. It's +1 dread. That's just nice. It's not awesome because he's not that dreadful to begin with. But great warrior is nice. But it's more his command. I mean, let's be honest. 5 command is quite nice. This guy's only got 2. Chinless Wonder is going to make that worse over time. His acumen's going to get worse. So I got to find a way to get rid of this guy. So maybe he will go along for a crusade. And we're just about at the right time for that, actually. The Caliph of the Almohads has just conquered the English garrison in Cordoba. So if we get you... Yeah, let's get you down here, Prince Ferdinand. Get you over to Castile, and we'll put you, like, under the tutelage of Prince Sancho. And then I'll just have to make sure that I know which one is which. There's only... Yeah, it's only this guy who's a Royal Knights unit. Then we're going to send the Crusade. So let's train up a few units. I guess that's fine. We don't really need a lot, I think, to deal with this. But maybe a trebuchet would be nice. I know it's 2 years, but... Okay, we'll just wait for Castile. For Leon, yeah, Metalsmith. And we hope we get some Knights of Santiago when that crusade is declared next turn. Okay, he's been assassinated. And an emissary's been assassinated. Alright, there's lots of strong agents running around. Man, the Pope is going wild. First it was the Almohads, then it was the Egyptians, and now it is the Turkish, which I'm surprised to see. No Almohads, we will not ally with you. But let's get another emissary. And let's declare the crusade. So, 1,500 florins. And we've got 1 unit Knights of Santiago. Very nice. He's got his little valor bonus and everything. Yep, we'll add you to the crusade. And this is actually really nice because the crusade is not going through my territory at all. It's just coming down here. And so here we go. I'll take the feudal knights with me. And I think this should be fine. Because they can't bring anything from Grenada. They can't bring anything from further east, like Algeria, because I've got a ship here that is going to block them. Let's see, what else could they do? I guess they could move, like, the Sultan up, but they're not likely to do that. They're probably not going to move these 8 camels out of Morocco. They're probably just going to withdraw. So it's not necessarily the best way for me to get rid of poor hapless Prince Ferdinand, but maybe we'll have better luck. Maybe we'll send him against the Portuguese or Grenada, which they have not conquered yet, actually. And there is a border fort here. We'll just keep the Cardinal there. No sense in rushing things along. We'll see what they do. All right, yeah, we are losing money, so let's hold off on the building. All right, they're just going to retreat in the face of our crusade, and we're going to have to do a siege. All right, we lost that battle. I should have learned. Okay, Prince Ferdinand, I'm not interested in him getting married. Interestingly, it's from the Russians, who are my major rival right now, but let's say no. Okay, the Swiss have canceled their alliance with me. That's all right. I'm not too worried about the Swiss. Okay, Ferdinand has now got the eloquent trait. What does that do? +1 piety, +1 acumen. All right, I guess that's nice, in case he ends up having to take over the throne. Because, yeah, Alfonso's got maybe 10 years. And then it's just going to be Ferdinand if I don't do anything. Well, I could send him against the castle. Let's do that. We'll just throw him against the castle, along with this big crusade. Now let's just check everything real quick. Okay, I've got a princess here. Let's go to Constantinople with her and see what that looks like. I'm wondering what the Turks are doing that has the Pope so worried. Actually, Pedro, you can go and lead the capital. We've got a 2-star caravel, so he can come down to Gibraltar and just defend. The way naval battles work, I swear I have better results just by doing nothing and just letting the AI try to attack my boats. When I try to attack their boats, even if it looks like I should win on paper, it just doesn't work out very much. Okay, so I want Prince Ferdinand in the front line. So I'm going to replace this Chivalric Knights unit. We'll put them down here, I suppose. I don't think we can dismount them once they get on the field, but that's okay. Not really a concern. We've got 1 catapult, but that's all right. I'm going to send Prince Ferdinand right at the gates anyway. He's going to win this citadel by the might of his sword. Do or die. Alright, we'll just attack. And there's Ferdinand right here. I guess I could dismount him. That might actually be better if I want him to die. Let's do it. We'll just attack the gatehouse. And you know what? May as well throw a catapult in there too. Now I assume he's not going to win. Or maybe he will, but at some point he'll be cut down. So he just lost 3 men. Now the game doesn't tell you, and there's no way to tell just visually who's like the officer. But he could be dead already, right? There are some people back there in the keep. Quite a few, actually. It's down to 10. What do we get inside here? So, 24 crossbowmen, some desert archers, some Berber camels, Saharan cav, and then Gulam bodyguards. Down to 8 men, down to 7. Alright, let's speed it up. Down to just 2 men. Alright.
Onward to victory!
Alright, now what might happen here is if he routs, if this is the prince, that he gets off the field, you know. So let's send up some reinforcements. Maybe get the Pavies units up there. And we might have some foot soldiers. Yep, order foot. Let's set up the chivalric guys with the good armor. So far, he's doing quite well. Oh, running away. Alright, so all we can do now is hope that he got killed in this assault. Or that he takes an arrow to the back of the head. But we've done what we can. Let's shoot down this Ghazi infantryman. Can actually target some of these guys, so let's do that. They're having a bit of pathfinding trouble, I guess. Alright, great. Let's go after the Gulam bodyguard. And I guess we'll just go right for the gatehouse. Kind of a waste of these chivalric men-at-arms, but they are unlikely to rout. Okay, there's our general, Almohad Urban Militia. So this guy's a little tough. We do have some more fresh men-at-arms that we can throw in. Let's set them walking up here. Alright, great. What are we at here? 26% and 12 men-at-arms. Alright, let's send in the Order Foot to help out. Nice. Okay, militia sergeants. I think we want to bring up some ranged. And the chivalrics, yeah. This is a nice little position for them to hold because it's just a slight hill. Our men are coming through the gate narrow, so they'll be able to surround us. Even though this is just like a, a tier 2 unit. They're more than holding their own. Militia sergeants are also armor piercing. Yeah, we lost half of our men-at-arms, and he's lost, like, maybe a quarter. I think we get enough here to deal with it. Maybe, but let's just bring up some more to be sure. We're definitely gonna, grind them down. And you can see they're pushing us back. Maybe what we'll do is this, actually. Let's disengage. And now we can kind of get them on, better footing. All right, their general's keeping back, which is good. This is still a fairly dangerous unit. They're like just swordsmen, so it's not like the armor piercing of the Christian urban militia types. But they're a pretty solid unit from what I remember. Alright, I think this is working out. But you see they're setting up on that little rise again. Okay, we took out the guys who were down in our area. Let's back away with the order foot. I think it's just the general's unit. And like a couple of stragglers, yeah. I don't want to bring any cavalry into this. Although that would be the good counter to the Almohad urban militia, but not in the context of a city battle. Okay, I think this is going to be it. Oh, how'd you get in here? Alright, you may as well flank from the inside then. Imagine that's going to be pretty effective. I don't know if these guys can rout inside. I can't remember. Alright, just 8 of them left. Nice. It looks like maybe 1 or 2. I don't know why I find this so much more satisfying than like the more modern Total War games. It's hard to describe, I guess. But just being able to watch the little individual soldiers. I know the animations are like extremely basic. It's pixelated, 2D sprites pretty much. But just the way the game models the interactions between the units, it allows you to sort of, see these little individual matchups and watch one guy like doing really well, like busting into an enemy formation, and you can sort of track the little sprites in a way that it's kind of boring to do with the modern games. The animations are so slow. Okay, Cordoba has fallen, so this is we've reduced this quite a bit down to the keep level. Yikes. Okay, we got 1900 florins, so that's helpful for our coffers, and another successful crusade. And Prince Enrique has matured. Let's see where we're at with our other prince, Ferdinand. Okay, that's Fernando. He's different. Do we have Ferdinand anymore? Damn, we do. All right. Still got Chinless Wonder, Natural Leader, and Eloquent. So he's got 5 Valor currently. That's because he took a lot of losses in that fight, and he probably got a decent amount of kills. I don't know. Do we want to make this guy a hero and like send him after the Portuguese alone? This guy's got up to like 9 influence. And let's check out... Okay, we're not at 3 conquest yet. We would need 1 more province to do that. So I think that's what I'm going to aim for before 1375. We've got, 16 years before that hits. And that should be plenty of time to take either Portugal or Grenada. Now, I would almost prefer Grenada in a way because Portugal is very rebellious, and I'm a little concerned that this is not going to be easy to hold. The problem with taking Grenada, of course, is that it opens up our border to a 2-front border instead of a 1-front border. So, there are other options, right? Like we could do other things. We could look at Malta again and try to bribe that. Let's check my emissary. He is in Aragon, and let's send him down to Malta. See if we can get that, because honestly, if I could get that by bribery, if it's a tiny force, I would be happy to do that. All right, and what are you? Okay, we've got another caravel. All right, I could put him in the Barbary coast. I could start getting ships up here, because I think both Leon and Castile, yeah, they've got ports and they've got trading posts. So that means getting a ship here and here gets us both of these places trading with Brittany. And then 1 more ship gets us to the English Channel, which has a couple. And the North Sea has 4 ports right now, so that'll be pretty lucrative. Now, granted, Castile has silk, which I think Flanders makes. And Leon has wool, which I think Brittany and definitely Wessex and Flanders make. So maybe it's not the most important thing. Portugal, though, makes some really rare stuff. Wax, and this may be the only place that produces wax. And olive oil. And olive oil is kind of rare. Like maybe it's in Constantinople, maybe it's in Greece, although I don't think so. Maybe in Sicily. Yeah. There's not too many places, though. So Portugal could be a good attempt. So maybe that's what we'll do. We'll sort of let's build another crusade. And what we're going to do when we get it is see if Portugal is a crusade target. I don't think it is, just given the nature of these units. They look pretty Catholic to me. And yeah, it's 97% Catholic. But there's a chance, right? There's a chance that it's a rebel army, and maybe at one point the Almohads held it really briefly, and so the game considers it a valid target for that reason. But if we can get a crusade, great. If not, we're going to send our victorious conquering Prince Ferdinand over to Portugal with a few likely lads and see what can be done about it. So I think this is a good point for us to end the episode. We've successfully passed our first goalpost for homelands, and we're in a nice tie currently with the Russians. And that will continue unless we do something different, which is going to be the goal next time. Let's just see actually if the Russians have conquered any more. No, this looks the same. But notice how much of this is just based on conquest. So their homelands points are really not impressive. But the more they conquer, if they get 1 province, they get 2 points out of that. Let's check their diplomacy. I'm curious now. They're not at war with anybody. Okay, that's maybe a good thing because they're going to run out of like rebel provinces to conquer. So it's worth us getting a few spies around, and we'll check out places like Finland, which they might have some trouble holding on to, Livonia, Lithuania. See if we can get some Catholicism in there, and then see if we can get some rebellion, maybe some spies. Try to undermine the Russians. But that's right, we wanted to check out Constantinople, and the Turks do have it. This is awesome. So we've got the last few Varangian Guard. some Pronoi Elagion, really cool looking unit. Byzantine infantry and some handgunners. I just love the late motley Byzantine army, right? A lot of this stuff they can't even really train anymore. Like I think these guys and these guys are not available, but it's a cool aesthetic. Okay, so they may hold it. Only 1 year, and the Turks may have Constantinople. So we'll leave Dulce right here, and we'll see what the Turks are going to do. This is shaping up to be a very interesting little campaign. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you join me for the next one. Take care until then.